Hello and welcome. This is Simulated Erk. Should put my glasses on, shouldn't I? Just about so used to not recording with a camera. There we go. Anywho, let's get into shot. Anywho, we are in Train Simulator. We're using the same rolling stock that we did in the previous episode. We'll open our doors and we'll show you that we are in Scotland. So we'll turn our lights on. There we go. And we'll be leaving very, very soon for our destination. Doing a run between Edinburgh and Glasgow. 47 miles. Not necessarily going to be running a scenario on this one. If I see a station, I might stop and pick some people up. But if not, well, we'll continue going. So I picked this line because it was one of the lines that I had, and it was one of the lines that would probably suit the look of this two-car diesel railcar unit. It's from New Zealand. You can purchase it on justtrains.net, and there's no Auckland map, there's no New Zealand map that comes with it. It's just the train, so it's up to you to find somewhere appropriate to run it, or if you like, inappropriate to run it. So let's get in the cab for a little bit, and we'll put our reverser into forward. Our automatic brakes, will release the brakes, and we'll take up some throttle and we will depart. So welcome to sunny old Scotland. Actually, on my last trip to the UK, I did the Edinburgh Glasgow trip and did a lot of train travel up that part of the world, and it was quite nice. It was quite nice, actually. Really enjoyed it. Here's a fun fact, talking of fun facts that we'll go through when we get through this tunnel. So the fun fact is, I was walking around Glasgow, and half of the central business district was closed off. So just trying to walk around, just trying to get from one part to another, and you'd get sent all over. You'd get sent all over the place, and it turns out that they were actually filming the on-location outdoor scenes for the movie World War Z, the zombie movie featuring Brad Pitt. Now, as it turned out, it was actually the very last day of location shooting. As we go through the tunnel here, Haymarket coming up. We will make a stop there shortly. It was the last day of location filming, and it was actually cheaper. I was talking to some of the crew about the movie, what they were doing while there were all these American vehicles and everything, American signage and everything in Scotland, in Glasgow, and they said that it was actually cheaper. The local government over there, the city, what they did was that apparently there were some incentives for the for filmmakers to come across, and with exchange rates and taxes and whatnot, it was actually easier and cheaper. Well, it was certainly cheaper for the film to be made on location in in Scotland and make it look like it was in America. Is this thing going to pull up? That's the question. I braked way too late. Massively long platform though, got lots of room. It's like landing a Cessna at your local international airport. There's lots of runway to work with. Now there's no way that I should be up anywhere near as far as what I am, but I'm not concerned about, again, not concerned about the driving. I'm concerned about things like that, showing you the train in the location rather than, you know, necessarily worried about the driving. Don't even know if the doors are going to work in this scenario, but so if you didn't know any better, you could say that that was somewhere in New Zealand. Also, it works out good that there's actually a Haymarket in Auckland as well. But that's not why I did it. So let's get back into the cab. And the other interesting part of trivia about that movie, about World War Z, or World War Z, depending on what part of the world you're from, starring Brad Pitt. And I guess I should at one day. I've got a perfect person in mind who might want to watch this movie with me. We just need the time. I've never actually watched the movie to see if it's actually realistic. If it actually looks like the part of America that it is supposed to be set in, or if it is, or if you can tell. So I've never actually watched the movie to find out. So we're not going to stop all stations to Queen Street. That'd just be ridiculous. But I should actually repeat on another episode. Actually repeat this route and use it for one of the trains which it's supposed to be used on, just to illustrate the difference. So 90 miles an hour is the speed. Now we know from the end of the last episode that this train basically doesn't stop operating. That's probably it. It can't go any faster than just under 100 kilometres an hour. And the speed zone here is 90 miles an hour. So we don't have to worry about speed for some time. We've got a 100 mile an hour zone coming up. So we'll just have a look at the train outside. So you could imagine this train running through this area potentially. Sometimes on these quick drives you can see other trains coming in the other direction, but usually not. So we'll see when we actually need to slow down. I think it was called The Train That Couldn't Slow Down. You know, if you were to watch a railfan video, this is what it would consist a lot of. These sort of shots, which is fine. It has its place. We're coming up to Edinburgh Park shortly. I'm not even going to try and attempt to stop there at this point. We are doing 61 miles an hour in this train, which is a fair effort. That's probably as fast as it will go. It's probably as fast as it will go for a while, so we'll just sit back and enjoy the different angles and just imagine that this train is actually in New Zealand rather than in Scotland as we have at the moment. I did think it was a rather interesting, here comes Edinburgh Park. It's quite interesting. Last episode we had, oops, I better change that for you. We had a simulated New Zealand train in a simulated fictional route in the UK. Then we took the same New Zealand train and we took it to Japan, which was a little bit more realistic because it was the countryside, it was low speed, not many stations, short platforms. And then I decided to take the train to China and put it on high-speed tracks, and this train and high speed should never be said in the same two sentences because that's not what this train's designed for. So we continue. Our driver dressed nicely. There he is, hey? Just a bit of horn, old mate. Bit of horn. Bit of horn. Bit of horn. I see lots of kids try that. There we go, bit of horn. Thank you, old mate. It's amazing the amount of kids and sometimes parents with their kids who would like to hear a bit of train horn as the train goes by. We've just gone into a tunnel. Hang on a sec, see if I can adjust that. Hang on, this is... The camera's acting weird on us. Going out of one tunnel, looks like it's going into another. Wow, okay, that's an interesting view. I'm going to have to see if I can try and get out of that one. I don't think I can. There we go. I think I got that fixed. So yeah, this is rather interesting just to be able to go full throttle. It's relatively flat and not necessarily have to worry about the upper speed limit because the train won't. We know the train won't reach it. 100 mile an hour speed limit. This train's doing 61, and it's maxed out. Won't be able to go any faster than what it is. On the next episode, we'll run a train through here that would normally run through here, and we will certainly notice the difference. So we are just under 30 miles away from Queen Street. We're coming up to a 90 mile an hour zone. No need for the train to do anything because it's flat out doing 60 miles an hour. 90 zone coming up, so we can just keep the throttle open on full. I wonder in reality how good this would be. This would be, you're just zooming along, you got the throttle fully open, you don't have to worry about the speed limit, you don't have to worry about stopping at stations because you don't have to. And it's seemingly pretty flat. I'm appreciating the scenery though. On the next episode I'll run a train that's... Actually, what I'll do at the end of this episode is we'll see what trains we can use with a scenario on this line and see what we have to choose from, and then we'll do one or more of them on the next episode. So I just thought I'd change the camera angle up slightly for a little bit. You know, yes, it's unrealistic, but this is some of the good things that you can do with Train Simulator. You can use different cameras and have a look around the scenery and that sort of thing. How often would you see a train from New Zealand running through the Scottish countryside? You wouldn't see it. So sit back, relax and enjoy this. And if you've got one of those stereo systems that goes right up to 11, feel free to crank it. Wow, okay, so we've gone into a tunnel, so it's automatically put us back into cab mode. Still no need to be anything but in full throttle at the moment. It'll be interesting to compare on the next episode when we drive something that can be a little bit more high speed to see. Oh, that's a great view. To see how that goes as we pass by another station. I missed the name of that one. Oh, that's a spectacular view. The canal over there is almost overflowing on the right hand side. That is great scenery. I don't think I've ever driven this full route before. Well, to be honest, I don't have to do much driving. I just leave it in full throttle. That's all I have to do at this point. Because the train, she no go no faster. It's actually interesting thinking about it. I have never, well, I won't say never, but from the last time I changed the camera angle, I didn't set this camera angle up to be so high. It was basically running alongside the train at track level. Now look at the view that it's giving me. It's a fantastic view. Just under 20 miles to go before we arrive in about half an hour's time. Not sure how comfortable this trip would actually be. It's been a few years since I've actually been on this sort of train in Auckland, and obviously it's built for suburban local work. It's not built to go from high speed or from one major city to another. So we're about 4 and a bit miles an hour away from our destination, and still we don't need to worry about the speed limit. It's 100 zone at the moment, 100 miles an hour, coming up to an 85, but just after that is a 50, so I guess, whoops, time for a different view, one from the back maybe, just for something different. We do have a 50 coming up soon. We are doing 61. That's a warning board for the 50. So we'll get back in the cab, and 50 coming up, so we'll take the throttle back now. Won't go back straight away. 85 board there. So we'll won't worry about braking at this stage. The speed's coming down nicely, just idling. Might need a little bit of brake just around the corner, but not that much. The signals have been all good for us. We can just release now. There's a 40 coming up after that, so we'll maintain this speed for now. No use trying to get back up to the 50 and then hold 50, then back down to 40, and then 20. So we'll stay roughly where we are. We are just under. We're under the speed limit now. That's a 50 coming up, so we're comfortably under that. 40 round the corner. We'll flow nicely onto this 40. That's coming up. We'll flow very, very nicely onto this, and just let it coast along. Yeah, so this will be nice, just coming onto this 40 now. Just under 2 miles to go now. A 30 coming up, so we'll just start to put a little bit of brake in. Air brake, so it takes a bit of time to take effect. We'll release now, and then we'll just let it roll as we're coming up to the 20 soon. Is it a 20? No, it's a 30 coming up soon. So we're going on nicely, coming onto this 30 board. On the next episode, we'll feature a train that would normally run on this route. At the end of this episode, we'll have a look and see what scenarios or see what trains we can use on this route. We'll pick it up just a little bit, but not too much. Just over a mile to go now as we're coming in. It'd be nice to drive this route with a faster train. So 30 board coming up, we'll just release, we'll just basically coast at the moment. 30 is coming up, so we'll just make a quick application of the air brakes. Under a mile to go anyway, so we need to get ready to come into Queen Street. 15 mile an hour coming up. Coming up as we're coming into the tunnel, coming into Queen Street. Signals as well will play a factor. So we're just going to roll in. We're just going to roll in nicely. I'm no expert when it comes to British signalling, but we'll roll in nicely. We should only have this signal and then the next one to go. We need to start braking for that 15 mile an hour, so we'll just make an application and that'll start to bring the speed down. One more signal to come, then the platform. We're coming down nicely for this 15 through the tunnel. We can release now. Just let it roll in. It'll start to pick up speed a little bit. Take another bite of the cherry. Just to bring it down that little bit more, then we can release. Speed will start to increase briefly again as we're coming into our final destination of Queen Street. So from Edinburgh to Glasgow, I hope you have... Gee, I don't know what's that about. We're coming on to platform 5. We need to make a small brake application for this 15 board that is coming up. We'll flow nicely onto that, back into the sunlight. And we'll just flow nicely onto platform 5. Just a little bit of throttle perhaps, just to get it down the platform. No more than the third throttle setting. Glasgow Queen Street coming up. Whoops. Not. We'll just put our brakes fully on now. And we have arrived. You have arrived. So our train has arrived onto the platform, and we'll be back in a moment. We will show you what trains we could be featuring on the next episode. Back. So this is what we'll be driving on the next episode. We'll be driving This is what we'll be driving on the next episode. This is a ScotRail diesel multiple unit, the Class 170. You can see it looks a little bit more modern than the Auckland train that we just had. Looking forward to driving this on the next scenario. Anywho, I'm Simulated Erk. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you have enjoyed, and we'll see you next time. Don't forget to stay safe, stay behind the eye line. Don't forget, tracks are for trains. Bye for now. We'll see you, Mr. Scottish Train, or Miss Scottish Train. We'll see you on the next episode.